Welcome to episode 168 of the Muck Podcast, a member of the Odd Pods Media Network. Listen in as we discuss the dark and sometimes weird true stories in American politics. I'm Tina Hanamiya.
And I'm Hillary Doherty with late breaking news.
Ooh, me too. I think that this should be our focus, really.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Let's focus. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for all the downloads last week.
Ooh, hi. You like us, or you like that content.
I'm telling you, I think there's got to be a way. I think our podcast is long. I think that we clip it up, like you said, like I know you've been wanting to do. But also, like, clip the stories.
Yes.
Or maybe do one story a week.
I was thinking the same thing.
Like, take turns doing one story.
I was thinking the same thing, and that gives us a little breather.
Yeah, so that we can take a break.
Yeah,
but we should
take a break.
I know we're good at the upfront.
Yes.
I know we can break this motherfucking shit down.
I think
and if we focused on Florida, which is, Florida.
Yeah.
It would be really good. But anyway.
I like that. I was thinking the exact same thing.
That's so fucking weird. That's so weird. Anyway, it's more digestible too, I guess, if it's shorter.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you kind of have to be in love with one of us to listen to the whole goddamn thing. And be like, it's so great. And, point out all of the things that you love about it. Here's the thing. So last week we did a big fucking 30 minutes on the Broward Democratic Party and how Nancy Frye was treated in her race. Yes. We had a ton of downloads, which I'm super fucking stoked about. And all it makes me want to do is continue that content.
Yes.
And I was trying, when I was doing it, I don't really think about it. When I edit it, I'm listening to what I'm saying and what you're saying, and I'm like, all right, you don't ever go too far. I go very far. And then I usually come back the next week and I go, all right, listen, I didn't mean to say this much. I don't feel that way at all. At all.
I mean,
and I know that everyone that we discussed is a volunteer except one of them who's actually getting paid. But the rest are volunteers.
Yeah.
And so just like Nancy all those years, they're giving their time.
Yeah. And no one's saying that, time isn't given. It's just how is that time being used?
And I think that what is the most important thing that we talked about and what really needs to happen to make change is transparency. I can't tell you how many conversations we have behind the scenes with a lot of major players and low-level players and mid-level players in the party who aren't happy with the party, who aren't happy with the leadership. But nobody ever says anything because they're trying to hold on to whatever positions they have, or they don't want to upset people, they don't want to offend people. And then this is how years and years go by with the same leadership when things don't change, right? And we give people chances, and we watch what happens after elections, and things just fucking go away. And people bring things up, and then they're never discussed again. So what I'm hoping now is that Nancy's race is going to shine a light on it, right? Of the incompetence that's happening there and how you just don't give a fuck about it. And
the midterm elections alone should have been a big spotlight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was, but then when you go to we went to the November meeting and it was just like, oh, well, the results weren't what we wanted. It wasn't what we were looking for, but we're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep registering voters.
Has there been any, even at that meeting, I believe they said, I think you mentioned it last week when Nancy brought up, let's strategize. And I was like, oh, we're going to do that. We're going to do that. I haven't seen a meeting of let's break down what happened.
It will never happen.
Maybe is it happening at the top? Who knows? But as members of this party, like, I don't know.
They act the thing that really fucking burned my ass is actively working against Nancy. Personally, actively working against her. That's the part. Let's forget about the duties you didn't do as the people who are in charge of the party. Let's just put that aside for a second. That you didn't sit anybody down. Right. That you didn't have those conversations, right?
That you didn't have a plan.
You didn't have a plan, right? Let's put that aside because I guess that's what we can expect at this point. But the personally getting involved. And I've since had conversations with Nancy. We saw her the other night, or I saw her the other night at that event with the clothing swap. Yeah. She named other people that were out there doing shit. I'm shocked. And it's the same group of 2016, BYD people. It's the same group of like Kiki friends that are working together to get Alfred Delgado elected, who hasn't done anything in years.
Yeah, it's
and Nancy's never done anything to any of these people, right? Except be a leader.
And she's part of the BYDs. I mean, I get it. I get you want to like support a friend, but if you're just putting a friend in because you don't like somebody and now you're going to cost us a Democratic seat, like it's petty bullshit that we don't have time for. Like I am constantly stressed out about what's happening in session. Like I had to stop looking at my phone again the other day because I posted on it about the trans bill that could impact women getting treatment for breast cancer. They are so reckless in their pursuit to hurt people, and they don't care about the collateral damage along the way. They don't.
I don't even think they're thinking about what's happening.
They don't.
The impact of, especially because when you give morons a little bit of power, like Moms for Liberty.
These idiots.
There's one sentence about a kiss or one sentence with a curse word and they're like, the whole book's got to be burned.
It's
like,
it's so stupid.
Insane. It's insane. Anyway, so then this week, because it feels like a ball is rolling. There's a ball rolling.
Yeah.
A letter went out.
Ooh, and we love an anonymous letter.
Love an anonymous letter. We even have an episode called Anonymous Letter. Yes. One of the earlier episodes. Tina fucking loves anonymous letters.
Yes.
No idea who did this. I have no idea. I could guess, but I have no idea. But someone forwarded this letter.
Here.
It went out priority mail to DEC members, which is the committee members. And it's about the Broward Party and the leaders and like what fucking shenanigans with money have been happening there. Now, these are questions like what is all of this?
Yeah.
But attached with the letter is fucking proof. It's the PAC. I believe it's the PAC money that they have because you have to report every quarter where you got money and who you gave it to.
Yes.
Right? And so this person attached this report for the last, I think 9 months it is of reports.
Yes.
With what they've been doing with their money in Broward.
Highlighted.
Holy shit. And in this letter, I'm going to quote it. It says, in 2022, the executive director, Ryan Greenberg, who I talked about last week, was paid through her corporation, G4 Consulting Group, Inc., and she received compensation in the amount of more than $52,000 in 9 months. Ask yourself if the work was done warranted the pay. Ask others if they know people who walked away from the party because how they were treated by Ryan Greenberg. Holy shit!
Know. I mean, this is the bomb. The bomb.
Whoa!
Here. And
think about those old motherfuckers over there.
Right.
They're gonna go $52,000. These are people living on fixed incomes.
Right.
That show up to those meetings every month. And the phones are never answered at the office.
That's the thing.
She's supposed to be at the office.
This is the biggest complaint that we have heard.
Yeah.
Throughout that whole 2022.
Yeah. The office is never open. No one's ever there.
Through the midterm cycle, that nobody was there. And she does send emails out. But $52,000 in 9 months. I don't know how much field directors or executive directors are supposed to get paid. I don't know. I don't know how that normally works. It's a lot of money, but we lost. It was embarrassing what happened in Broward, and I think the question is, what did you do to earn that? I would love to see the booked hours, because if you're not in the office,
is there a bill?
If you're not in the office, where are you? Were you working remotely?
Which is a possibility.
Maybe.
All these things are possibilities,
right.
But they're asking for an explanation, which the party is due. These members of this DEC are due an explanation. Because $52,000 9 months, let's say there's another $10,000, I don't know.
Right.
Let me just spitball it. Let's say it's a $60,000 for the year, right?
But
that is how much somebody gets paid to sit in an office and answer phones. Yes. Like, what the fuck is going on?
And my other question is, if this is a pay, and I don't know how this works either. I know that in city jobs, right, that you have to put a public notice out that you're looking for someone.
Oh, please.
And you have to vet, applications. Was there a public notice for this job posted? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Let me tell you something.
Was it volunteer and then they're like, hey, we're going to pay you? I want to know that too, because why wasn't
This
It put out for other people to apply to. You know what I'm saying?
They put a yes man in there. That's what she is. She's a yes man. That's what she is. She'll sit there and go, yes, yes, yes. She'll do whatever the fuck they say to do or not to do. Or not give her direction, which is why she goes and runs off. You're being paid $52,000 in 9 months by the Broward Democratic Party, and you actively worked against a Democrat.
Right.
You actively, personally, on your personal time, worked against a Democrat. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that's violating the loyalty oath that we all have to fucking sign to be part of this damn party. And this girl's getting paid, bitch. That bitch got paid.
Yes.
And as a former treasurer of a caucus in this state, we did not pay shit without an invoice. So G4 Consulting better start producing invoices.
Yeah.
And I've had conversations now this week with 2 people who are very involved in the party, and I said, don't let them let this go. They are going to try to brush off this fucking report. They haven't even acknowledged it. Shitty fucking explanations for it. We cannot let this go. You have to keep the pressure on. They have to explain what the fuck they're up to. Ask for the invoices from G4 Consulting. She should list out not just a lump sum of like, she got paid like twice a month, $2,500 each time, right? What did you do for that money?
Right.
Who wrote the check? Who signed the check? Who reviewed the invoices and say this is approved to be paid?
Right.
Who did it?
And why aren't you answering the phones? Like, that's what I don't get. Like, maybe you're getting paid.
Yeah, like, see, I don't know the specifics of what she was supposed to be doing, but it's a lot of money to not be accounted for. And I think a lot of people, I was shocked by how much money she's been paid, but I think a lot of people would be shocked.
Yeah.
Hang on to being shocked.
Yes.
Hang on to what that feels like.
We have to ask.
Because they're going to run in 2 years to be replaced. This whole board.
Yeah.
Don't forget shit like this. There needs to be an investigation by the state party into what the fuck is happening. And there's other things on this list. There's lots of other things on this list.
That one thing, okay, fine. Somebody has a salary and maybe that's a paid position. Who knows? Who knows, right? But they can make that clear. The things that I think are harder to make clear are dry cleaning bills, Lyft rides, dinners, grocery shopping, gift cards that, according to this letter, that have went over $10,000 and billed. And this part, I would like to see, just because if there's this accusation here, then prove it wrong, right?
Have to.
You have to prove it wrong. We're billed as volunteer events on days when there were no volunteer events. So what, you guys are just going to dinner? Like, are you trying to write everything off? Like, if this is the case, like, holy shit. This shocked me.
I got to tell you, I think I left this message for you this week because I was reading it. I was so appalled by it. Again, as a former treasurer and someone who does accounting for a living, you don't fuck with people's money. You don't do it. You ever take advantage of something like that. And if you can explain these things and you think this is how the last chair did it or the chair before that or whatever it is.
Maybe everybody's corrupt.
I'm sure that a nickel and diming a pizza and a Lyft ride seems appropriate to you. You better pause for a minute, because if I had to stand in front of the Dolphins membership and explain to them why we're paying for a board member's Lyft ride, I'd have my fucking head handed to me. And also, here's the other thing. If somebody handed me a Lyft receipt, I tell them to go pound sand.
Right.
Because we don't pay for that. We earn every single dollar, and when the membership trusts us to give us money, you better believe I'm not going to betray the membership by using it for shenanigans.
And the thing that I feel like is a little shenanigan red flag is the fact that on 2 different areas here, gift cards to gas stations. So that tells me they purchased the gift cards because then they can say, oh, we gave gift cards out, whatever. And now they're paying for their gas with these gift cards. Right. You see what I'm saying? Because they don't want to just have like a straight gas. Maybe that's wrong.
I don't know. But here's the thing.
Why do you need gas station gift cards?
How desperate are these groups for volunteers? Like a lot, and Dolphins too. We need more people to show up when we were doing it for volunteering. If there's an older person who's like, I can go to the poll in Davie, but I live in Coconut Creek or something, I don't have gas money to get there, and they give them a gas card to get to the polling place. I think that these things can be explained.
Right.
I'm not trying to give them ways to explain it. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, that is a form of compensation for a volunteer who's nobody else is showing up and they just need $20 in gas. I think I could fucking figure that part out.
Yeah,
I could justify
who's
that
getting
somehow.
the 20? That's
I don't know.
That's
See,
what
I
I'm
don't.
saying.
That's the thing.
We
don't know.
Who's Joe Schmo volunteer asking for?
I don't know. This is. I honestly, I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. So in my brain, in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, how could this be explained? How,
Right.
I don't know. Rental cars? Was it rental cars?
There's rental cars.
Like, there's a lot of people who need to be held accountable here. A lot of people, and
maybe they have an explanation for every single thing, and then I will be like, all right, great, thank you. But
at the next meeting, it needs to be explained. Right. Do not allow them, because I'm not going to these fucking meetings. Do not allow them to go, oh, we'll get into it next month. We'll get it.
Yeah.
Because that's what they always do. That's what they always do. Right after he got elected, thousands of dollars of checks were written to people that were working on his chairman campaign to be the chair. Remember? And everybody swept it. People were like, why is this person getting paid? She's an asshole. Why are these people getting paid? And they gave a very brief, oh, she's working in the office. $8,000 a month or a quarter, whatever that was. Like, nobody's asking questions. And this is not the first time. And the reason why it's very peculiar is because every year they are required to put out a budget, just like every club and caucus had to work on that the 2 years I was with doing the treasurer for Dolphins. I had to put a budget together with Alfredo. It's not that hard to do. What did we pay 2 years ago? What did we pay last year? Right. What are we expecting to pay next year? Then what you're expecting is what your proposed budget is. You know what's coming. There's a gala, there's expenses, there's office supplies, there's fucking water, there's paying volunteers or polling or whatever. Like, you know what's coming. You have to put it together. They put their budget up 2 months ago. At the meeting, people are like, you're missing X, you're missing Y, you're missing Z. Where they can't put a budget together. The treasurer can't put a budget together, and then this comes out, and it's like, what is going on over here? And by the way, was G4 Consulting listed on that budget? Because that's going to blow a hole in a budget like anything I've ever seen before. $52,000 in 9 months?
And
is that on the budget?
And this money is coming from the PAC?
It's the money that's in the PAC. It's the PAC money.
In the PAC money.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so I wonder too, with PAC money, I'm sure there's certain things that you can and can't use that money for, and you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's interesting, to say the least.
It's very interesting. I mean, that's all I had because I have a long story, but I don't know what else I mean, they're passing everything. I did send you a message this week because very briefly for about, I want to say 6 or 7 hours, a representative here on the permitless carry bill added an amendment to make it open carry.
And people lost their minds.
And the fucking, the people in the Republican Party were like,
They
and they took it out. So, but
the fact that
maybe next year they'll be lucky enough to do it.
That they had to be the ones to be our saviors on that makes me sick too. It's bill after bill after bill after bill. Vouchers. I mean,
it's over.
It is over.
It's over. And I don't know. Oh, I'm wearing a shirt from Change the Ref. Oliver was arrested this week. Did you see that he was arrested?
No.
Manuel Oliver was arrested. His son, Joaquin, was killed at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. And we've talked about Manuel before because he goes out and does like incredible things.
He draws attention.
Absolutely. Like puts a big flag up on a crane. Yes. Remember that big banner about it with his son.
He climbed up the thing.
He protested in front of the White House for I think 2 weeks before so he can get a meeting with President Biden.
Which didn't happen.
And they had a hearing at the House, the U.S. House, and it was in there with his wife, and he started to scream out about guns, and
he has every right to do so.
Maxwell Frost was on the committee. He was sitting there too, and anyway, they came in and not only did they arrest him, they slammed his body onto the ground.
Oh my God.
and had their knees in his back and had like 12 security guards rushing down this hallway, and people are screaming, he's a grieving father, his son was killed, he's a father, he's not violent, this is non-violence.
They don't care.
It's incredible to me. And the worst part is this, like, he's standing there talking or yelling because of pain, right? And
no one has done anything.
And they're looking at his eyes.
They're lowering the age to 18. They're taking away everything he's worked for.
Yeah. I'm saying from the U.S. House. He was in D.C. But, like, how do you... It's one thing to make these laws and, like, go about your business. You're looking in the face
they don't care.
of someone who's lost a child to this. And you're just like,
they don't
how
care.
in the fuck?
I know. But, you know, you sent that video of the Florida house with the 30 seconds of people... not getting more than 30 seconds, and it's the same thing,
girl.
Like these are people who are in pain and are suffering, and they dismiss them, and they don't care.
No, and there was another video.
They don't care about people. They care about corporate. Every bill has benefited corporations in Florida, and these stupid Floridians, like, don't see it. They don't see it that they are not out for your best interest. They are out for themselves and what money they can get in their pockets at your expense. And you're going to keep checking the box because you're a Republican. These stupid Florida homegrown boys. It's clear that you're homegrown because you're stupid.
Yeah.
We're in the stupid education system. You have no sense.
Yep. And I don't know if the video that you probably saw was about the medical reform they're going to put in, so you can't sue, and it's going to be a fucking nightmare for insurance. I don't know. These poor people. But also there's another one about abortion where women were testifying about the abortion. And they're literally, like, standing there. They have 30 seconds. And they're like, this girl said, I never told anybody about my assault, but I was assaulted and it became rape. And the lady goes, okay, can you wrap it up? And she goes, yeah, wrap it up.
Yeah.
Wrap it up. They did that to everybody. They cut off the microphones of doctors and nurses saying doctors should not have to check the law book before they check their medical books, right? About, like, can I perform this? Or can I save this person's life?
What doctor wants to work here?
No, we're losing. Nobody's gonna come work here. We're gonna have Dr. fucking Kevorkian.
It's like what was the state?
Dr. Bombay. Dr. Bombay. That's the best.
What is it?
Sorry.
Was it Alabama? I think it's in Alabama. There's a hospital in Alabama.
Oh.
Where they had to tell women that they have to close their OBGYN.
Oh, it's not Alabama. I think it's like North Dakota or something.
Is it? It's somewhere. So it's Republican.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. And the women have to drive 46 miles now to deliver a baby because there's no doctors.
Yeah.
There's no doctors.
Rural hospitals are shuttering their maternity units.
There are no doctors. Who wants to be in these states?
Yep. Maternity wards are closing everywhere because of lack of doctors. Because it's impossible to actually do your job.
Imagine having to drive 46 miles. Now, I know for my firstborn, I would have made it there in labor. My second, I would not have made a 46-mile drive.
Me neither.
I wouldn't have.
I barely made it a 2-mile drive.
Right.
That girl was coming.
Yeah. So what are you going to do? Like, people are going to die. And they don't care.
You know what's worse? Babies are gonna die.
Yeah, they don't care.
I know that I don't matter, but what about that baby, bitch?
Please.
What about that baby?
They don't care. They don't care about babies having babies. They don't care about babies. I can't.
All right, let's go.
We got too much.
Go fuck yourself, pieces of shit, motherfuckers.
Okay, mine is a little kind of fun, stupid story. Okay.
Well, your idea of fun is not my idea of fun. So someone's getting
I'm trying to keep it light. I'm trying to keep it light. All right. Okay. So today, and I've been waiting
and your haircut looks fucking awesome, bitch.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you look cute.
It's not. I did nothing today. I basically rolled out of bed. And
I rolled out of bed like this too. 6:30 in the morning, putting on fucking makeup like a clown, like a real. She's a clown.
I put moisturizer on this morning, and I was like,
you've got beautiful skin. You don't have to do anything.
I was like, I didn't even put like because I have like a tinted, you know. I did nothing.
Oh, fuck it.
All right, so today, and I waited until like the sentencing because I'm like,
fantastic! I love when you do that.
So, because I was like, I want to know, I don't want to just leave it hanging. Yeah. So, I mean, when I tell you, I kept checking and checking and checking, and then I was like, oh, finally, I can do this story. So today, I'm going to tell you the story of Patricia Derges.
Okay.
So Patricia Derges served as a Missouri state rep beginning in November 2020. But when she sold fake cures for COVID, she swindled herself out of a job and into jail.
Yes!
This lady.
I'm getting Smurf and Papa Smurf vibes from that guy who drank the silver. Remember that guy? Oh my God. Fake COVID cures.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes. So our
Tina, thank you.
Yeah,
I
this is a fun. It's a fun little.
Yeah.
So our story takes place in Christian County, Missouri. And prior to her election to office in 2020, Derges worked as an assistant physician. So at first I thought it meant a PA, which is a physician's assistant, but that's a separate thing. A physician's assistant, you go to school, you don't do 4 years post-grad, you do 2, but it's still, and you do like a doctor where you can have your residency and you do the different segments, you do all the things, it's just that you don't do the 4 years, and highly trained, all of that, great. I have, my lovely little cousin does that, and she's amazing and brilliant. An assistant physician is someone who did do all 4 years of med school, but then did not get residency.
Okay.
So you have to apply to residency. If you don't get residency, like you can't finish your medical degree. So there are people who they'll go through the whole thing.
What a fucking bummer.
And you have to wait and wait and wait to see if you get picked. And if you don't get picked, you can go, I think you have to wait 1 year for the rounds to start again. And then some people just, you don't get it, right?
Dang, can you imagine all that work?
Can you imagine? But at the same time, I'm like, well, I'm kind of glad because these are people who operate on us. And, you know, like you want to make sure that there's a certain level, you know, there's some careers like who gives a shit, but there's some careers where I'm like, you know, an architect, you're like building shit that people have to like live in and walk on and drive on. Like that shit better be good. Yeah. You know? So she went to med school. It was called the Caribbean Medical University in Curaçao. But again, she wasn't offered that residency. So she doesn't have the actual MD, but because she has those 4 years of medical school, she can practice medicine similar to how a physician's assistant can, but she can do that under an actual medical doctor. Okay. So they can like work together. So
this is getting more disturbing. She has a medical degree and she's giving fake COVID fucking shit. Oh my God.
So in addition to that, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office press release, she also operated several medical clinics throughout Missouri.
Oh no.
And she had a nonprofit that was called Lift Someone Up Today. All right. Yeah, it should be Rip Someone Off Today. This lady did crazy. But she owned like all these clinics. I can't remember the total number, but it was like, I want to say like 4 different clinics throughout the state. So let's just dig right into what she did. All right. So like many others, Derges attempted to profit from the pandemic. So the first thing, so there's 2 things that she did. And the first thing she did was she tried to get about $900,000 from the CARES Act.
Oh.
So just a reminder, because it's been a while, the CARES Act was the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. And that provided economic aid to workers, to families, and to small businesses. So businesses could apply for that COVID relief, if they, especially small businesses that were really hurting at the time. So she applied for the CARES Act funding for her nonprofit, the Lift Up thing. But here's the thing. That organization did not offer COVID testing. So she applied for the CARES Act and she kind of billed that she was offering all of these COVID tests and like that she needs to be reimbursed. And so that's how she attempted to get money. And the U.S. Attorney's Office press release notes that the organization was actually closed throughout the pandemic. So they weren't serving any patients from March 2020 to June 2020, but that's the time frame that she was applying, saying that they used their funds. You see, like not working. So she said that Lift Up indeed provided those services, and she provided fraudulent documentation to prove that they had spent close to $300,000 on COVID testing. But the invoices weren't for Lift Up. They were for the other medical clinics that she ran in Missouri. So she used the invoices from those clinics and doctored them up to say they came from the nonprofit foundation.
Oh my God.
And the kicker is she had already received $500,000 for those clinics. So she already got $500,000, and now she's applying using those same invoices to get another $300,000.
My company got PPP loans, and I had to by myself put together the backup.
You have to have all the proof
to have them both forgiven. It is a tremendous amount of work. They want to see everything. because ours was mostly payroll, and they want to see every paycheck, and they want to see when it cleared the bank. Like, they do not fuck around. When I tell you the fucking stack of papers was like this, it was incredible. I had to send all of it in. Right. To get it forgiven, which it did because it was legitimate paperwork. Yeah. And when I see people like, this guy got arrested for buying Lamborghini with his PPP loan money, and I'm like, what's he gonna do to explain that? He can't turn in a Lamborghini receipt, motherfucker. Oh my God. He's gonna make shit up.
Yeah. Well, she made shit up, and here's the other thing. So they were like, oh, even at the clinics, like, we paid for all these COVID tests and the patients. Guess what? She charged the patients and the patients' employers for those tests, so she never paid for them to begin with.
Oh my God.
So she got the money from the patients, got the money from the patients' employers, and then turned around and said, we paid for it all, and got almost $900,000. Girl.
Scamming's gonna scam.
I mean, I would be so paranoid.
They're coming to get you.
I would be so paranoid. Yes.
I would be out of my fucking mind.
So you would think that, the CARES Act scheme was enough. But no. This is where we get into the pretend COVID cure. So, and I think this is
cruel.
Well, it's very horrible what she did. It's pretty damn horrible.
Yeah.
So she sold what was this sort of miracle stem cell treatment, which she called regenerative biologics, which was supposedly from amniotic fluid that contained stem cells, right? And then she marketed it as this regenerative medicine to folks. So it's one thing to steal money from the government, right? If you want to be like, fuck the government, blah, 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 whatever. But to charge people for medical treatment that's false, and you're someone that went to medical school, and you run medical clinics, it's fucking disgusting. And especially because the people that she was treating were people suffering from chronic illnesses, right? And they believe in you as a medical professional.
Right. And they don't want to get COVID because they're the ones that were hit the hardest.
And think about the months of legitimate treatment that these people could have had, but instead they're doing your wonky miracle cure. Like that, I mean, when you
fucked up.
It's messed up.
It's like, you know what it reminds me of is The Righteous Gemstones. Remember when Uncle Baby Bobby Billy?
Yeah.
His name? Uncle Baby Billy. Yeah. Uncle Baby Billy. When he was selling that coconut water, whatever that was, at the back of his car.
Yes. That's basically what she's doing.
Yeah.
So the thing is, she was using
Uncle Baby Billy.
Baby Billy. Hey, Baby Billy.
Baby Billy. Such a fucking great show.
It's so
Y'all
good.
should be watching Righteous Gemstones. It's
brilliant.
Oh my
brilliant.
God, it's so fucking good.
The daughter,
and John Goodman as the straight man is like so good too, because he's so annoyed by these idiots that he has his children.
Oh my God, his kids.
And he's ripping people off, by the way.
Oh yeah.
But he justifies that shit too.
Yeah.
All right.
They all do. They all do. And that the theme park they have. The Jesus Park, whatever the hell it's called.
Fucking good.
So dumb.
My favorite's the baby brother with all his men around him.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. So
he's
great.
cute. But I like the daughter because she's so desperate for like love and attention.
Oh my God. So good.
All right. So it turns out that the fluid was amniotic fluid, but it was acellular, meaning it did not have any stem cells in it at all. And she administered this to patients who had tissue damage, kidney disease, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, Lyme disease, urinary incontinence, and I mean people who had like lupus, like people who had, chronic inflammatory issues, like people who were sick.
No.
Okay?
It's fucked up.
And the U.S. Attorney's Office press release noted that she wrote on her Facebook page in April 2020, quote, "This amazing treatment stands to provide a potential cure for COVID-19 patients that is safe and natural." The dum-dum also went on television to promote the treatment. And that's what sparked the investigation.
Yeah, if you're getting away with this low-key fucking with people, what are you doing? This is the arrogance of these motherfuckers, right? Like, they're coming for you with that PPP loan, bitch. But you don't give a fuck. No. You're going to pull another goddamn scam, and you're going to put yourself on television. She must think she can walk on fucking water.
I don't know.
The hammer is coming, and she don't even give a fuck.
It's crazy.
Girl, it's
crazy.
Dum-dum.
So she's fucking dumb.
Yeah,
So the U.S. Attorney's memo also notes how she price gouged folks.
Oh
for
my
her fake
God, it
treatment.
never ends.
So she bought the fluid for $244 per milliliter and $438 for 2 milliliters. But then she upcharged, and she charged $950 to $1,450 per milliliter, which is between a 285 to 494% increase.
Yeah. Well, she knows how to play with that money.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And it's not real. It's not real.
Yeah. No.
And people are injecting this into their bodies.
No.
In the end, she made about $200,000
wow
on this fake fluid treatment that she had.
So fucking gross.
And then when she was confronted, she lied to the feds and she said, no, it does contain stem cells, when in fact she knew that it did not. And this lab that she bought it from said, no, it's clearly marked as acellular, like she knew that it did not contain those stem cells.
That's so fucked.
So here's the other thing that she was found guilty of. She was also selling Oxy and Adderall online to folks without prescriptions.
Oh my God.
She's selling pills online.
Oh my God.
Oxy, which is a national crisis. She's selling online.
She's a disgrace.
She was an elected official at the time when this was still happening. My Oxy dealer, hold on, I gotta go up to the Capitol.
Yeah, I gotta make a vote. Who issued on the corner with pills, like shaking the pills, see if anybody want anything. Holy shit. This is so fucking insane.
It's insane. So,
girl,
I know.
Where did you even find this fucking story?
I saw it like when it was first happening, and I was like, I'm putting it aside, and I just periodically would like check on it.
Yeah.
So the charges: 10 counts of wire fraud, 10 counts of distributing drugs over the internet without prescription, 2 counts of making false claims to law enforcement. Derges was convicted in June of 2022 for her fraud scheme. According to the Western District of Missouri's U.S. Attorney's Office, she was convicted of both schemes: the $900,000 scheme for the PPE and the $200,000 for the COVID. And U.S. Attorney Teresa Moore stated, quote, "She violated her position of trust to selfishly enrich herself at the expense of others. But a jury of her peers, in a unanimous verdict, saw through her smoke screen of excuses and ridiculous claims, and now she will be held accountable for her criminal behavior." FBI agent Charles Deube stated, "Today's verdict, decided by a jury of her peers, is a direct message to those who wish to profit on the backs of others. The FBI will vigorously pursue any individual who abuses their position of power and the trust of Missourians for their own gain." So, according to Kirk Eckerson's St. Louis Post-Dispatch article, Derges claimed innocence, and her attorney, Elle Watkins, told the jury that she was trying to help underserved communities.
Oh, what a cunt.
And that her intent was never to deceive the patients.
Oh, I'm sure.
Can you
She's
imagine?
Innocent. She's probably like, like these big eyes.
Oh my God.
Bitch, please.
So, KCUR's Dan Margolis reported that Derges posted the following message on Facebook when she was first arrested.
Oh, God.
"I am here holding my head up because that's what you do when you've done nothing. Never before have I seen anything like this. This is what comes after years of doing nothing but helping people. Keep prayers coming."
Facebook, the cesspool of...
You know what? Oh my God.
Calm down, bitch.
Calm down. And I love when people like go hard.
Yeah, oh,
and they're
too.
So guilty.
Woo! You know who else did that? Remember Holness's daughter? Denara, whatever, and she did the same thing, PPP loans. Yeah. With fake employees or people didn't work there or some bullshit.
You can't do it.
And she got in trouble. Holness, he's a local, an ex-county commissioner, but like, I mean, and she went fucking hard. Like she put a
people
Facebook.
See dollar signs.
Yeah,
you know?
she put a Facebook video up, and she's like, I can't quote it. I didn't really watch too much of it, but it was just like she went hard. Thing. She was like, I'm innocent.
innocent. All right, so sentencing. Derges was sentenced to 75 months in prison, according to Michelle Skalicki of KSMU Public Radio. She was also given an additional 60 months, but those are to be served concurrently. Mm-hmm. So basically, it's a little over 6 years that she's serving. And she was also ordered to pay restitution of $500,000 to her victims.
Good!
And she should. Yeah, I mean, because there was like a separate lawsuit where like one of the people and then So that ended up being part of the she has to give that restitution back. And then prior to the judge handing down his sentence, she talked about being bullied as a kid. And she asked the judge,
what? Well, how old are you now, bitch? I mean, give me a fucking break. Oh, go to therapy. Everybody go to therapy right now.
She was bullied, and she asked the judge, please consider my mental and physical health. And she finally said that she was, quote, truly sorry and remorseful. But to me, this is after the fact, when the judge is about to send you to upwards. She could have got up to close to 20 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure she was very sorry and remorseful at that time.
Ooh, honey.
To try to shave some years off, you know?
God.
And if they would have done those consecutively and not concurrently, she'd be in jail for, 12 years.
Mm.
So, aftermath. She resigned, so she refused to resign, of course. But when the guilty verdict came, then she resigned. She was forced to resign.
Oh my God. She's got to be the worst fucking person.
I mean,
she did everything wrong. Everything wrong.
I don't know. To me, there are people suffering from serious health issues, and now you have delayed treatment for them.
It's taking advantage of people.
Oh my God!
And for to what end? For
and
money? What?
People who are vulnerable and scared and worried about their health, and they're like, "Oh my God, this could be the thing that could help me." It's so fucked up.
I don't know. What are you gonna do?
So thankfully, another part of the aftermath of this was she had to relinquish her medical license.
Oh, good.
And she was no longer to refer to herself as doctor, and she can never speak about stem cells in public.
Oh,
So privately, I guess she can, but she can't in public. So some points of interest, and one thing I thought was hilarious was when she was first facing charges, she refused to resign, like I said. But what I thought was the best was they stripped her of her committee assignments, but they also moved her to a broom closet. They're like, that's where your office is now, in this tiny little broom closet, and they ostracized her.
Oh my God.
And that's
probably embarrassed.
Can you imagine? You're being put in a broom closet.
It's like, what's his name from The Office? What's his name? Ryan. Ryan got put in the broom closet.
Yeah, that's where they put her. But
so
you're an elected official, and they're like, yeah, go sit in this broom closet. We don't want you. And she still didn't resign. It's wild. And then the Missouri GOP even blocked her from running for re-election as a member of the GOP. They're like, we're not going to let you do that.
Wow. I like this.
Yeah. And then one thing I also found interesting is while she was a rep, she filed a bill that would allow assistant physicians like herself to become medical doctors after working 5 years under a doctor and completing some other training, citing that it would be similar to residency. But residency, you really have to, kind of see all the different departments. And if you're just say you work for a dermatologist, that's a doctor, now you get your medical license, that's not the same.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I want the most rigorous, the best, I want someone who knows what the hell they're doing.
Right.
But who knows? I don't know. I mean, I don't know that field. And, she kept referring to herself on Facebook as a medical doctor, so she wanted that degree. Yeah, and an entrepreneur.
Oh, my favorite is when someone says, "I'm an entrepreneur." That means they're broke.
Yeah, but my favorite thing is,
I'm an entrepreneur too.
Yeah, please.
Aren't we?
Yeah.
That means the podcast makes no money.
No money. We needed to make some money. We're waiting. Waiting.
Give me them fucking dollar bills, y'all! Dollar. Or like RuPaul says, money.
Oh my God. But the thing that I thought was funny is that the DOJ made a point to say that she was not indeed a physician and just kept referring to her as a licensed assistant physician. They wouldn't, they're not giving that to her.
Of course
And that's it. That's the story of this crazy COVID doctor, Patricia Derges.
I guarantee, just because she's elected, but I guarantee there's so many fucking people who are doing shit like this during
COVID.
With the
PPE?
The PPE, but also just COVID. Here, take this, take this.
Oh, well, remember the ivermectin and oh my God, it was
it's so fucked up to take advantage. But every time there's a crisis or a hurricane or whatever, if there's people who could be taken advantage of because they're desperate and they need help, some fucking creep snake oil salesman's gonna roll on in and promise you the fucking world
Yep.
and take advantage of people. It is fucked up. How do you live with yourself doing shit like that?
I don't know.
Today, I am covering former governor of Louisiana, Edwin Edwards.
He's on my list.
He is?
Yes.
Oh,
Wow.
he is
Crazy.
He's crazy, but he's one of those muck podcast people that is like everything is mucky.
Yeah.
He's the most perfect fucking
He's
person.
the perfect storm of muck.
Oh my god, I fucking love it. I love every second
The
of it.
perfect storm of
And it's
muck.
Louisiana. You know, that's where I was born. I was born in Louisiana.
Ooh, in the bayou.
I was born, well, alligator delivered me from my mama's vagina.
Oh my god.
God.
You ever hear the bayou, like
The bayou.
the accent? I can't understand.
And this
it.
guy sounds like there is that thing. There's that little
Yeah.
That I was not born in the bayou. I was born right outside New Orleans. All right. Okay. Anyway, let's get into this motherfucker. Edwin W. Edwards was born August 7th, 1927, in rural Aveilles Parish near Marksville, Louisiana. He served briefly in the U.S. Navy Air Corps near the end of World War II. After he returned from the military, he graduated at 21 years old from Louisiana State University Law Center and began practicing law in Crowley, the seat of Acadia Parish. So we're going to jump right in because he's got a lot of political stuff. So he entered politics when he ran for the Crowley City Council in 1954, and he won his seat. He was a member of the Democratic Party, which, of course, in that era had a monopoly on public offices in Louisiana, but which fell out of favor in the 20th century because racism. Edwards remained on the Crowley Council until his election to the Louisiana State Senate in 1964. He beat a 20-year incumbent in the race, Bill Cleveland. And Edwards served in the state Senate until 1971 when he ran for and won a U.S. House seat in the 7th District of Louisiana.
Okay.
So he's just beep-bopping all over the place, right? And shortly after winning that seat, he runs for governor in 1972, and he wins the race.
That's wild to me.
I know. So he would go on to be elected as governor 3 times, all non-consecutive terms.
Oh, so he won and lost, won and lost.
So he won, and you're in there for you can run another term. You can run for 2 terms, right? So 4 years and then 4 years. So he serves those 8 years, and then he goes, all right, I can't run again, but I'll be back. Comes back 4 years later.
No.
Runs again, wins.
And then does it
again, and then comes back and does it.
What is he doing in between? Is he just like on, is he in the bayou on his little, just floating along, catching alligator?
Yes.
Okay. Make it alligator shoes.
So he was in office from 1972 to 1980, and then 84 to 88, and then he doesn't run for another term. He just runs his 4 years because he's a scandal, and then he comes back and he wins in 92, and he's there through 96. So it's really like 5 little, 5 4-year terms.
But that's like his whole life.
It's incredible that he keeps getting elected.
Yeah, who's voting? Oh God, that can't happen. Imagine that happens here.
I know. I was thinking the same fucking thing.
Like he goes away and
DeSantis says you run right now for these 4 years, and I'll come back.
Oh my God.
What do you mean? That could happen. So during his first 2 terms in office, Edwards developed a reputation for being one of the most colorful and flamboyant politicians in the history of a state known for its unorthodox political figures. Charismatic, well-dressed, equipped with clever one-liners and retorts, Edwards maintained wide popularity. And he is a cute little guy,
I don't know why I'm picturing like a Kentucky Fried Chicken guy.
He's got that
like,
white
with
hair.
the suit and like the hat.
He doesn't have a hat, but he's got that white hair. And he's got that thing. He's like this. You know what I mean? Like this guy. So early, go to our YouTube to watch me do my Louisiana guy.
Oh my God.
In the first gubernatorial term, Edwards initiated the creation of the first new Louisiana state constitution in more than half a century. He intended to replace the Constitution of 1921. A constitutional convention was held in 1973. The resulting document was put into effect in 1975. And as of 2021, the 1973 Constitution remains in effect. Okay. So really there was like a bunch of amendments and they had to get rid of them because it was just shit that was outdated they didn't need anymore.
Can we do that to our U.S.?
Sounds good. Edwards also undertook a major reorganization of the state government, abolishing over 80 state agencies and modeling the remaining structure after what the federal government has set up. And Edwards' tenure in the 1970s coincided with a huge boom in the state's oil and gas industry after the gas pricing crisis of 1973. And Edwards was able to greatly expand the state's oil revenues by basing severance taxes on a percentage of the price of each barrel rather than the formal flat rate. And that oil money fueled a massive increase in state spending, and Edwards was able to consistently balance the state budget due to the boom in oil revenue.
That's
good for him.
That's why they're reelecting him.
Yeah. Much of the increased spending went toward health and human services programs and increased funding for vocational technical schools and higher education.
Okay,
Great.
so that's all good stuff.
Okay, so some early scandals that give a hint of like what this motherfucker's like.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so though arguably minor compared to the Edwards scandals of the 80s and 90s, the governor was embroiled in several ethics controversies during his first 2 terms in office. At the time, Edwards was remarkably candid about his questionable practices. When questioned about receiving illegal campaign contributions, he replied that, quote, "It was illegal for them to give, but not for me to receive."
What? It's the same thing.
He probably gave some like at the end, like walked away, While still governor, he demonstrated his gambling prowess to the press on one of his frequent gambling trips to Las Vegas. A disaffected bodyguard made several high-profile accusations of corruption, including the sale of state agency posts.
Oh, no.
The accusations were investigated by a grand jury, but the Edwards administration attacked this bodyguard's credibility, and the investigation was stalled.
Well, because, they got
It's a
money.
Trump move.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So then there was this thing called Koreagate. In 1976, it came to light that Edwards and his first wife, Elaine, had received questionable gifts in 1971 while Edwards was a U.S. representative. South Korea rice broker Tong Sung Park was under investigation for trying to bribe American legislators on behalf of the South Korean government and for making millions of dollars in commissions on American purchases of South Korean rice. Edwards admitted that Park gave Elaine an envelope containing $10,000 in cash, but instead that the gift was given out of friendship and that there was nothing improper about it. And
can he be my friend?
Jesus. What about me? Slip me an envelope, bitch.
10 grand?
Oh my God, I would shit.
Oh my God.
In the course of the controversy, Edwards stated
in an envelope.
Yeah. Edwards.
Happy birthday.
But also to the wife. Like,
right.
Not to him. He didn't touch it, right? In the course of the controversy, Edwards stated that he thought it was, quote, super moralistic, end quote, for the U.S. government to prohibit American businessmen to accept gifts from foreign officials in the course of their business dealings. But you're not. You're an elected official.
You're elected. Wow.
Okay, so
oh my God.
His second run from 84 to 88. So term limited. Edward finishes his second term, in the second 4 years, and vows to return again, and he does in 1983.
This guy is wild.
He runs against.
I'll be back.
Yeah, he runs against Republican David Treen, and the two candidates spent over $18 million, one of the most expensive races ever at that point in Louisiana. Before Election Day, Edwards joked with reporters, quote, "The only way I can lose this election is if I'm caught in bed with either a dead girl or a live boy," end quote.
Wow.
What in the fuck? What in the fuck? This is 1983.
That's
shocking.
Yeah.
Edwards zinged Treen many times, once describing Treen as, quote, "so slow it takes him an hour and a half to watch 60 Minutes, end quote. It's such a dick. During a gubernatorial debate in 1980...
Zing!
Yeah, zing! Burn! He had like some smile that was like... After he said it, he was like, walks away. Zing. During a gubernatorial debate in 1983, Treen asked Edwards, quote, "How come you talk out of both sides of your mouth?" And Edwards instantly responded, "So people like you with only half a brain can understand me."
Oh! Hello! He's quick on his feet. I like it. I mean, he sounds like an asshole, but I like it.
And this guy was like, "I'm going to ask him this question." It's like from Seinfeld with the jerk story. He's like, I've got a response. I know what I'm going to say. Oh, God. So after winning the election, Edward's brother, this is so fucking weird. After winning the election, Edward's brother, Marion David Edwards, was part of the 1983 campaign and of the entourage that headed to France and Belgium early in 1984 to raise money to repay a lingering $4.2 million campaign debt. So he spends all this money on the campaign, that $18 million, but they still owe $4 million in this debt for running the campaign. Jesus. And so they come up with this idea to go on a European fucking trip. And if you want to go and hang out with the Edwards on this trip, you pay $10,000.
Are they this? awesome. I mean,
this is nuts. 600 supporters joined the Edwards on the 8-day tour that included dinner at Versailles and gambling in Monte Carlo.
All right, here's my question.
And they each paid $10,000.
Here's my question. Ted Deutsch, when he was elected, says, hey, $10,000 and you get to come on vacay with me for 10 days, dinner.
Oh my God.
Museums, everything. You hang with me and my crew.
Oh my God.
And you had $10 million sitting aside, like just,
Yeah, I'd have to have the money.
Yeah, you have the money.
It's not going to hurt me.
It's not going to hurt you.
Oh no, I'd go.
You would pay the $10,000.
Yeah, I would go.
What? Okay.
But I'm not going with fucking 600 people. Like, no,
you need a private one-on-one.
One-on-one time.
Hi.
Oh my God. Hey.
So who else would we go on a trip with for $10,000? Because it's like a rock star thing. Like that's something that a rock star would do.
If we're talking about politicians, there's only a couple that I think I would do.
But it's weird, right? Like who?
It's totally weird.
Who likes a politician that much to want to like be with their family and?
I don't know.
It's odd.
No, it's very odd.
It's a very odd.
So he expected a 70% profit on the contributors' tickets to retire the debt.
Wow.
Yeah. Bumper stickers were printed in blue and gold campaign colors and distributed to those who contributed to the retirement of the debt. For years afterwards, motorists saw stickers on vehicles bearing the slogan, quote, I did Paris with the Gov, end quote. That's like your $10,000 got you a bumper sticker. By the way, bumper stickers, bumper stickers are huge in this story. Like, I don't know what it is, but remember when bumper stickers were a fucking thing?
Yeah, in the 90s?
Yeah.
So I had one of those cars.
Bumper stickers.
I had one of those cars that I paid $400.
Oh, yes, yes,
for this car.
Yes.
And it was an old lady's car. I want to say it was like a Lincoln. Yeah. It was like this boat
like
car.
A Continental big motherfucker, yeah.
That was like sitting, on blocks, and like who knows the last time we ran. I paid $400 for it. And that thing was like covered, like you barely see out the back because the thing was covered in stickers.
Really?
I was one of those kids that had the stickers all over my car.
What kind of stickers?
Oh, it would be like band stickers, sticker. Yeah. It was just, mean people suck. Like, you remember that? It was,
nice people swallow. Remember that?
I don't remember that. Yeah. But it was like that kind of stuff. Like, and I was working at that little like beach store. Yeah. And so like anytime products would come in, it was always with stickers. So I had stickers everywhere.
Girl, please.
How funny is that?
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait. I did not have my car then. But I think I just had, whatever. It doesn't matter. We'll cut that out. This is long. I know, sorry.
No, I like the story. State finances weren't what they were during his first 2 terms. So remember now, he's in his second term. Money from petroleum severance taxes decreased in the mid-90s because of plummeting oil prices.
Uh-oh.
Now he's got a problem.
There's his deal.
Here we go. He tried to deal with it by approving $730 million in new taxes, including state taxes, higher corporate income taxes, and additional gas taxes. All of the taxes were passed by the legislature. Republican State Representative Terry W. Gee of New Orleans said at the time, quote, nobody realized the magnitude of what was going on. I've had 180 phone calls in 2 days against the higher taxes, end quote.
Wow.
Not good for Edwards.
I mean, I get the corporate tax. Like, I'm like, fine. Like,
yeah.
But the other stuff.
Also not good was he was indicted on charges of mail fraud, obstruction of justice, and bribery by the U.S. Attorney John Voles. The charges were centered around an alleged scheme in which Edwards and his associates received almost $2 million in exchange for granting preferential treatment to companies dealing with state hospitals. Edwards proclaimed his innocence and insisted that the charges were politically motivated by Voles and the Republican Party. The first trial resulted in a mistrial in December 1985, while a second trial in 1986 resulted in an acquittal. Despite his acquittal, the trial brought many sordid details of Edwards' conduct under public scrutiny. It was revealed that during frequent gambling trips to Las Vegas, Edwards lost hundreds of thousands of dollars under aliases, such as T. Wong and E. Lee, and later paying these gambling debts using suitcases stuffed with cash of unknown origin. All of these scandals were a factor.
Did they ever figure out where it came from the government?
No.
The money. Where's
from the government?
Where's this?
No, he's getting paid off. Like he's paying for. Remember, he's selling those state seats. Yeah. This hospital thing.
Oh, so that's where all the money.
He's selling.
Money's full of
he
is
a
so I'm like, where's it coming from?
Scumbag, dude. All of these scandals were a factor in Edward withdrawing as a nominee in the 1988 primary. He came in last place in the polls against other Dems. So he had won that second term, but he only served 4 years. He was eligible to run another 4 years.
Oh, wait a minute. This is just the middle one.
Yes.
So he gets reelected again?
Bitch, wait till you find out why.
What?
This is fucking crazy. Wait till you find out why. Yeah. So he goes away because he's like, there's no chance I'm going to win. Like, you served the 4 years.
Right.
I can run for a second 4 years, but he's like, I'm out, right? Obviously, nobody wants him. So as the 1991, so now 4 years later, governor's race drew near, many of Edwards' friends encouraged him to abandon his planned comeback, believing that he had no chance to win. After Edwards lost in 1987, Lanny Keller, a journalist from the defunct Shreveport Journal, wrote that the only way Edwin Edwards could ever be reelected again was to run against Adolf Hitler.
Jesus.
These words turned out to be shockingly prophetic, since after the 1991 primary, Edwards discovered his runoff opponent to be former Grand Wizard of the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, David Duke.
No! David Duke ran for governor?
Oh, yeah. This was a huge race. It became major.
Why do I not remember this?
Oh, I remember it. It was humongous. It was huge. Edwards received 34% of the vote, while Duke received 32% of the vote in 1991. Governor Romer placed third, 80,000 votes behind Duke. The sitting governor of Louisiana, lost to David Duke. What the fuck?
Oh my god.
Because they do those jungle primaries,
right.
or the jungle elections. You know what I mean? So it's like placing.
I mean, racism is
Faced with the alternative of Duke, many who were otherwise lukewarm for Edwards found him looking ever better. Edwards found himself receiving endorsements from Treen and Romer, the guy who Republicans. Even Republican President H.W. Bush urged that Edwards, the Democrat, be elected over Duke.
And you know what? If this happened today, they would go for Duke.
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same fucking thing.
They would.
Where do we draw the line now?
Right.
And the fact that we are confused on like would they do it tells us really where we are.
No, I don't think I'm confused. I know for a fact that they would still back this guy.
Absolutely. I think so too.
Oh my god.
Here we go. A popular bumper sticker urging support for Edwards, although clearly not produced by his campaign, read, quote, "Vote for the crook. It's important." I've got a picture of it for notes, but like, holy shit!
I would wear a shirt that had that on.
Yeah. Another read, quote, "Vote for the lizard, not the wizard." Did Tina write these? Did Tina make these bumper stickers?
Vote for the lizard, not the wizard, because he's so old, wrinkly. Oh my god. Leathery skin.
Wizard. What can we rhyme with wizard? Let's call him Lizard.
My god.
Yeah. Edwards won by a wide margin. So this is how he gets reelected.
I think
and gets this next 4 years. So continuing his artful continuing this, wait till you hear this quote. I could not stop laughing. And I also was like, the 90s were so fucked, okay? Continuing his artful use of humor to deflate an opponent and referring to his considerable reputation as a ladies' man, because he's one of those creeps. Edwards said of Duke that, quote, "The only thing we have in common is that we both have been wizards beneath the sheets," end quote.
Ew.
Yeah, so 91, he's 70 years old.
Ew. Wizards beneath the sheets. Gross. What is his family? Imagine you're this guy's grandkid.
But he must have BDE.
He has to.
I think
only BDE makes you say something like that.
Yeah. But also, does BDE have to fucking shout things like this, or like declare that they're good in bed?
Oh, maybe I don't know. I
mean, BDE, like it's a swagger. It's a fucking thing.
No, I think it's BDE.
Well, he keeps getting them ladies. Wait till you hear about this bullshit. So
on election
day, Edwards defeated Duke in a landslide, 61 to 39%. A margin of nearly 400,000 votes.
Still 39% of the people voted for him.
I know.
Jesus Christ.
So, during his previous term as governor, Edwards promoted casino gambling in Louisiana, which had been a major part of his platform in the 1991 campaign. Now, we already know he's got an issue with gambling. Like, we know that this is a problem. He goes to fucking Vegas with suitcases full of cash that nobody knows where he fucking gets it, right? And now he's like, gambling, casino, like that is a red flag
then he doesn't have to go to Vegas anymore. He can gamble right at home.
Yeah. So in June 1992, his heavy lobbying led the state legislature to pass a bill calling for a single large land-based casino in New Orleans.
I mean, that's a money maker.
Oh, forget about it. It's right there on the water. Come on.
Yeah.
He also appointed a board that, at his private direction, awarded 15 floating riverboat casinos that had been authorized by the legislature and the Romer administration.
Oh,
so now he's in charge of who gets. He's got a board, but at his direction, who can get these.
So
now,
he's going to start getting paid money again.
That's right. On another front, he's always looking for how he's going to scam you motherfuckers, right? On another front, he again demonstrated his broad commitment to civil rights by becoming the first Southern governor to issue an executive order protecting lesbian, gay, and bisexual persons from discrimination in state governmental services, employment, and contracts.
That's good.
But don't steal money. Come on, bitch.
Yeah.
Despite the discovery that some licensees had links to organized crime or other unsavory ties, Edward blocked revocation of their licenses. So people are like, well, maybe we should give it to, Joe Mafia. And he's like, fuck it, just give it to him. Because, right? He's slipping it. They're slipping money over there. So, but a political backlash against gambling-related corruption began. Though he had originally planned to run for re-election in 1995, he announced in June 1994, shortly after marrying his second wife, Candy, that he would be retiring from politics.
I want candy. Dun, 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 dun.
So he said he would be retiring from politics at the end of his term.
So he's in his 70s.
Yes, but also take a fucking walk with all that money you got in your pocket before they start coming after you.
He better get out of town.
Get out quick. Edwards was succeeded by governor by State Senator Murphy J. Foster Jr., who ran as an opponent of gambling interests. Edwards retired to a newly purchased home in Baton Rouge, intent on returning to a private law practice and living out his remaining days in contentment with his young wife, Candy. She was 30, he was 67 when they got married. Okay.
She likes the money.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, maybe she loves him
maybe
too.
he's charming.
Maybe.
I mean, how much charm and Riz, which is a thing I heard, do you have to... Do you know what Riz is?
Yeah.
No, charisma, they say Riz. How much Riz do you have to make up for that wrinkly ass dick?
I don't know.
You better have a hell of a bunch of charisma, motherfucker. So the government, though, they ain't done with you. They're not done with you.
I was going to say, he just walks away into the sunset.
No.
He's 67. He's going to spend his life in jail.
It's not over.
Oh, no.
After being fingered by...
Jesus.
After being fingered by Texas for-profit prison entrepreneur Patrick Graham, who allegedly gave him, Edwards, $845,000 in conjunction with a scheme to locate a private juvenile prison in Jena in LaSalle Parish, Edwards was indicted in 1998 by the federal government with the prosecution led by U.S. Attorney Eddie Jordan. So... here we go. The prosecution soon released transcripts of audio conversations and excerpts of video surveillance that seemed to indicate dubious financial transactions. The Edwards investigation also resulted in the conviction of San Francisco 49ers owner Edward J. DeBartolo Jr., who admitted to paying Edwards a $400,000 bribe, which he was convicted for not reporting the extortion. Like, he should have said, yo, this guy's trying to get money from me, and he didn't, so... and in exchange for Edwards' assistance in securing a riverboat casino license. Edwards was found guilty on 17 of 26 counts, including racketeering, extortion, money laundering, mail fraud, and wire fraud. His son, Stephen, was convicted on 18 counts.
His son?
He had other people getting the money and all that.
Wow.
So he'd said, quote, I did not do anything wrong as governor. Even if you accept the verdict as it is, it doesn't indicate that. And then on his way to prison, he said, quote, I will be a model prisoner as I have been a model citizen, end quote.
So then you're not, he's going to be running a racket in prison. That's basically what he's saying.
In 2004, Edwards filed for divorce from his second wife, Candy, saying that Mrs. Edwards had suffered enough during his incarceration. I mean, maybe during the marriage too, bitch. According to the Federal Bureau of Prisons, he was scheduled to be released on July 6, 2011. In prison, he served as the facility's librarian, and he said, quote, I don't know why this is so funny to me, but he said, I did what I could for my fellow inmates. I helped a number of them get their GEDs, and I was helping several more when my term expired. Now I have to be honest, I didn't stick around to see if they succeeded. No? You don't want to check back in with your old fellow inmates? See how they're doing?
Oh, he's a librarian.
Yeah.
I bet you if I ever ended up in prison, I would be a librarian.
Oh, yeah, of course. That's,
Right?
Totally. Yeah. 2 men. Please, I don't know if I'll come visit you, though. But if I do, I'm going to slip you something that you can get out.
Okay, please help me get
file.
out.
Now
God,
file.
I don't want to.
I'll bake it into a cake. I'll bake it into a cake. Yeah, why are you there? Someone ratted you out.
No, it's we're gonna be
protesting.
Yeah, protesting.
Yeah. What did Tina do? She burned the Capitol down.
Yeah.
Well, somebody had to fucking do it. Tina had the matches.
Oh my God.
I put the fuel all over it. Tina fucking threw a match. That was it.
They're burning themselves down, this fucking state.
Yeah, they don't need help from us.
No.
2 men whom Edwards defeated in Louisiana elections, David C. Treen and J. Bennett Johnston Jr., and a third who was his protege and successor in the 7th District U.S. House seat, U.S. Senator John Breaux, confirmed in July 2007 that they intended to approach U.S. President George W. Bush to seek a pardon for Edwards and a commutation, which means all his things he'd be able to get out, who celebrated his 80th birthday in prison in August 2007.
How long was he in jail? Like, how long did he get sentenced?
I think it was like 8 years.
Oh, shit. And he was old.
I think I talk about it, yeah. So Bush denied a pardon for Edwards before he left his presidency in 2009. Edwards supporters also lobbied U.S. President Barack Obama for a pardon for Edwards so he might run for the 2011 Louisiana gubernatorial election.
Are you kidding me? What is wrong with you, Louisiana?
Obama did not reply to petitions by supporters of Edwards, and lacking a pardon, Edwards remained ineligible to seek the governorship of Louisiana until the end of his life, and would have only been eligible to run after 15 years would have passed from the end of his sentence.
He's too old.
Yeah. On January 13th, 2011, Edwards was released from prison and served the remainder of his sentence at a halfway house. His sentence ended on July 6, 2011, and began 3 years of probation.
Wow.
He entered into a home confinement at his daughter's home in Denham Springs, and through a supervision of the halfway house, that he was at before. Following that, Edwards was placed on probation, and he was granted early release for good behavior on February 7th, 2013. But we ain't done yet.
What?
Girl.
He's old.
This is the muck. I told you. This is a mucky guy.
Stay with your daughter.
Girl,
Jesus.
No. His new wife, Trina Grimes Edwards, made the announcement on her Facebook page that he had been released. He gets married again. They met corresponding from prison. She was his pen pal.
No.
At the time of the wedding,
he
was 83. She was 32.
She's after that money, honey. He's probably like, fuck it, I'm old, who cares?
Yeah. On August 1st, 2013, Grimes gave birth to their child.
Oh, no. Oh,
you gotta look at this picture. I got a picture in the notes. She's holding the baby. She's looking at the baby.
What year
and he's looking at the baby. It looks like grandpa's there.
What year did they have this baby?
2013.
Jesus.
Yeah, he's a little kid. In
2013? It's after we had our children.
Yeah, I'm saying he's young. In 2013, Edwards and Trina co-starred in an A&E reality show called The Governor's Wife, based on their life together.
No!
Go on YouTube and watch this fucking show. They have like clips of the show. It is got to be the wildest fucking thing I've ever seen. I was mesmerized.
How much did
First of all, they're in a huge fucking house, right? And it's reality TV, so they're trying to like make up things to like fill the time.
Right.
In one of the scenes, she has 2 children. By the way, she has teenage children also. So she had kids very, very young. She's 2 teenage boys, and they're in this huge house. And one of the boys is like looking at the computer, and he comes walking in. The old man shuffles in and turns off all the lights in the kitchen because there's too many lights on. And she comes in and turns the lights back on. And then he comes in. He's like, "Why is all these lights on?" And she's like, "Well, I can't see." And he's like, "Well, you don't understand. I need you to understand. We got to pay the light bill." And he turns the lights off, and then she puts tape on the light. But then there's a scene where she's shooting herself with hormones so she can get pregnant.
Why?
And
they can't pay the light bill.
And his 2 daughters are there in the kitchen with them.
Oh, they must be.
They're in their 60s. So you got these 2 old ladies and this young 30-year-old woman. And I guess when they told the girls,
so their siblings are infants.
Yeah. Now, I guess there was a scene on the show, which I have to go find, where they told these women that they're going to have a baby, and they flipped out because of their inheritance being split. And I thought to myself, that's what we're concerned about right here? Not that your father, who is a grandfather or whatever, and that you're 60 is having a fucking baby with someone.
That's fucking.
They were worried about the money.
So this is before.
It is the wildest
They only
scene.
have one kid.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Just
she
the one.
took fertility treatment to get that baby.
Yes.
Well, she wants that money, honey.
Yeah. No. She looks like a Real Housewife kind of person. You know what I mean? I mean, I
They're like, oh, that's our money. God,
it's
now they got to.
You have to watch this fucking show.
Oh wait, but the wife is going to get everything. Ooh, he better have some will. Is he still alive? Oh no.
So in a poll taken in October 2011, months after he had been released from prison, 30% of respondents named Edwards as the state's best governor since 1980. That says a lot about what's going on. So, finally, in February 2014, Edwards announced that he was contemplating running in the 2014 election to represent the Louisiana 6th Congressional District as a U.S. House Rep. Oh my God, right? And the U.S. House...
He doesn't have enough going on. He just had a baby.
I know. With U.S. Representative...
They're going to both be in diapers.
You should see
She's
her
going
walking around.
to be changing diapers for him and diapers for the baby.
With pictures of him with this baby, I can't get over it. I can't get over it. With U.S. Rep. Bill Cassidy exiting the seat to run for the Senate, Edwards said of the solidly Republican district, quote, "I'm the only hope the Democrats have here," end quote. He formally declared his candidacy at a March 17th meeting of the Press Club in Baton Rouge, saying, quote, "I want you to know I'm going to give it every effort," end quote. As expected, Edwards, as the principal Democratic candidate, led the 2014 primary field for Congress. And, but, you know, now he's got to go against the Republican, which of course he loses 62 to 38% margin in the runoff. And it was the second loss of his political career. Edwards was sent to hospice care for pain in his lungs in Gonzales, Louisiana on July 6, 2021. He died 6 days later on July 12, 2021, 26 days short of his 94th birthday.
Wow.
And the cause of death was respiratory complications.
Wow.
And then I read briefly in an article
that
he left everything to the boy.
Like not to the other two daughters.
Not that from what I read. Now don't quote me on it. I'm sure that's something they got something, but it's like the bulk of it went to this boy.
Wow.
And that is Edwin Edwards.
Those ladies are like, we lived our whole lives and now we get nothing from our dad.
One of the muckiest motherfuckers ever. Come on. Wow. I mean, you know, they're in this house, and as I'm doing the story and I'm watching this A&E, like these clips from the show, I'm thinking, how does he have this money? He must have hid millions and millions of dollars.
Right. Well,
also it's Louisiana. I don't know how much a mansion is there, but like.
Well, and how much was his governor money pay? And like, is he one of these generational wealth guys? Like, did his family have money?
Right.
That's wild.
But he hid that. I mean, if you've got suitcases of cash, it's somewhere. You've got that money somewhere.
I can't believe it took that long to like take him down.
I know. But he's probably one of those people that they finally took down or arrested, and people were excited because
they want him
for years.
I know, but then they want him to be reelected.
I know, but how many people is that? I mean, listen, David Duke is a candidate. Oh my God. Adolf Hitler. What a quote! And then it comes true.
I know.
Basically.
Yeah. Well, again, it wouldn't be the same today. That's a shame.
Well, that's all I got, bitch.
All right. Well, maybe next week will be a halfie.
Yeah, what do you think?
Let's do it.
Who's going first?
Let's keep it even odd.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I go first.
Yeah.
Good, because you know what? There's a story that I've been sitting on for 2 weeks because it's too long. And I'm like trying to, you know, hatch it up so it's not so long, and now I can.
Yes.
It won't be an hour long, but it's such a good story.
All right,
so
perfect.
I'll do that next week. Yeah,
this is exciting.
New muck.
Yes.
And it's less work.
It's less
so
work.
Much fucking
but you know
work.
what? It's a lot of content. I was thinking about that too. Like, it's so much content, and that it can be, because a lot of the shows I listen to, it's always one story that they say. So like, it doesn't have to be two. And if you guys absolutely hate it, you can email us.
They're not going to email us. You know what?